welcome back to this Get to Know You episode of our Science at Home series. Today, we're going to introduce a future member of AOP who's going to join us soon in July, Maritza Lara-Lopez. And yes, we're going to ask you a few questions. Hannah, why don't you start?
Hi, Maritza. So where are you from, and how did you get to be in Armagh? How did you find out about Armagh?
Hi, so I'm originally from Mexico. So I live in a city called Puebla. So it's in the center of Mexico. So we have amazing food and we also have an active volcano. So I was born there. So, and after that, I did my master and PhD in Spain, in Tenerife. And then I moved to Australia for a couple of positions, and then to Mexico, and then I ended up in Denmark. I'm here in Copenhagen, and then we astronomers and scientists, we have like short positions called postdocs. So my position here is finishing, and so I saw a very interesting one that was opening in Armagh. So working with Mark Sarsi, and so I was lucky enough to get the position. So I'm going to move to Armagh soon.
Brilliant.
Well, since you're going to work with me, can you actually explain me the type of research that you'll do? Of course, I know a bit about it, but maybe you can tell us to our public.
Sure. So I'm an extragalactic astronomer. That means I work with galaxies, for example, like the galaxy we are in currently, the Milky Way galaxy. So in my case, I work with, I have different lines of research. So I have worked with hundreds of thousands of galaxies at the same time. And with all of this information, astronomers, we can infer how galaxies are evolved. For example, we see galaxies that are young, galaxies that are old. We see galaxies that are in groups, in clusters, galaxies that are completely isolated. And so with all this information, astronomers can make models, analysis, and we can do a bit of statistics as well. And we can infer how these galaxies are evolving. So that's what I do, basically, how galaxies evolve. And that's also a very interesting, it's something very interesting for me, the type of line that, for example, Mark Sarsi is doing, because currently they're working with these Fornax clusters, so galaxies that are in a cluster. So, and we want to investigate that, how these galaxies are evolving and how to be close to so many galaxies is affecting the properties of these galaxies.
Interesting.
So have you used telescopes for your research then?
I do. So I love to be an observational astronomer. I love to go to telescopes. This is changing a bit now because as technology advances, so telescopes, so now a lot of things are being done remotely. But I've been lucky enough to work with lots of telescopes, and I can probably share.
Oh, that would be cool.
One image of a telescope. For example, I actually decided to do my master and PhD in Spain because at that time they were building the largest telescope of the world at that time. That was the GTC, Gran Telescopio de Canarias. So this is a telescope that the diameter of the main mirror has 10 meters. It's 10 meters large. So this is the telescope. So my project was initially to be with this telescope, but since it was being built, you always have delays, so it was never ready. So it was about something else. But anyway, so I get to visit this telescope. And I have also worked with other telescopes. When I moved to Australia, for example, I worked with this other telescope. Oops, sorry. Can you see my screen?
No. Not now.
Yeah, we saw it briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going
Pablo.
to put the image again,
Pablo.
because this is a
Yep.
very okay. So this is the Anglo-Australian telescope in Australia. It's in a place called Coonabarabran. You have lots of kangaroos there, so it's in the middle of nowhere. It's an amazing place, and something crazy that you can do from the southern hemisphere is that you can see the Magellan Clouds. So our Milky Way has two small satellite galaxies that you can see here in the image. This is the Large Magellan Cloud. You can even see that there is a small bar crossing this small galaxy. And this is the Small Magellan Cloud. And you can see them just with your own eyes. So it's crazy. The sky there is really, really nice. So Yes, and now I'm also using some other telescopes in the US. But yeah, so I love working with telescopes.
Quite cool.
Pablo,
So, yeah, tell me.
I have a question for you. You also study in the Canary Island, didn't you?
Yeah, I did my
Did
master
you see
degree.
the telescope that Maritza was talking about?
Yes, indeed. They organize each year a visit to the observatory of Roque de los Muchachos, which is the place where this telescope is, and also another one to the Teide observatory. So it's a very nice opportunity to study there.
Nice.
So could you explain to us what is the most difficult part of your research?
Yes, so I would say that it's been so far this inequality you have in gender. So there is not a gender balance in astronomy. So and it's been a bit difficult sometimes. And at the beginning, probably I didn't notice it that much because as when you are a student, you have quite a lot of women doing masters or PhD, but as you go with your first postdoc, so you see a bit less, and second postdoc you see even less, and when you are a senior postdoc, so we're already a small percentage, and women, you don't have that many women in senior positions at universities, for example. It is really embarrassing. Like sometimes you only have like a 10%, 20%, like 20, 30%. So this is very something I think we have to work on, and yeah, so I think that's been a bit difficult, so to kind of feel that we're not well represented in the science, but like there's a lot of work being done on this, so hopefully at some point we're going to keep increasing more and more the number of women that are at universities and working in science.
If I remember correctly from your CV, you also were championing this kind of cause, right? Didn't you get a prize for this?
I got the L'Oreal UNESCO Prize for Women in Science. That's right. Yes.
And what is this prize about?
So basically, they want to push the careers of women. So this is open for all type of sciences. It's and in my case, I submit a project. So this is it was an initiative made by UNESCO, and it's worldwide. So every country has this type of prizes. So, and in my case, I was the first astronomer to win this prize in Mexico. So yeah, I was very proud of this.
Maritza, you obviously have your passions, but have you always loved astronomy, or did you came to astronomy late in your life or early in your life?
I think I have always loved science in general. I used to ask lots of questions all the time. So I used to drive my parents crazy. And I used to always ask, like why the sky is blue, the rainbow, like, absolutely everything was amazing. And I knew I wanted to do science, and the most basic science, I think it's physics. So that's the one that might give you the why of everything. And I fell in love with astronomy when I was studying physics. I think we have some of the most interesting questions. And I think I already knew I wanted to be an astronomer when I was studying physics, but everything changed when the first time I went to an observatory. This happened in Mexico, because I was born in a city, so I've never seen like a proper sky. So you see some stars, but it's not the same as when you go to an observatory and you can see the whole Milky Way just with your eyes. So that was amazing. And then when I observed for the first time with a telescope and I saw a galaxy, that I took the exposure, I did everything, and the galaxy was there in front of me. So I literally felt butterflies in my stomach. So I think at that moment I decided I was just going to continue with astronomy, and I wanted to be an astronomer. Yeah.
That's really, really cool. So where's the coolest, I was going to say, this is or most unusual place your research has taken you? You said it's taken you loads of places, but do you have a favorite?
Yeah, so I think I've been very lucky. I have worked in amazing places in Spain, in Australia, and but there was we are very lucky that we have conferences organized in amazing places, and there was one organized in Kathmandu in Nepal. So this was like amazing, and I think I have a picture there. After the conference, the organizers, they organized some trekkings, and so I did one, so just around this area in Nepal, and I got to see the Everest. So that was really an amazing experience.
Nice, that's nice.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Sorry.
So
why should more people consider science for their future career? What is the reason?
yeah, talk to my daughter. Why should she consider science?
Oh, because it's very, very interesting. It's super fun as well. Like any science you pick, I think you are going to have a lot of fun. If you like chemistry, for example, you can do reactions, biology, or you can work with animals, and physics, you can know the why of everything. So I think science also helps a lot to to everybody, because it's going to give you problem solving skills. For example, it's going to give you as well a critical mind. And in general, the advancements of society, biggest advancements that develop a society comes from science. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth going into a scientific path.
Are you convinced, Morgana? No?
I can't find a lap in my bedroom.
Okay, she's worried more about a teddy bear that she can't find. But you want to be an astronaut now at some point? Or?
No, because how can I land on Earth again? I don't want.
Okay. Well, like 6 months ago, she was all about astronaut. Now she wants to be a vet. So, but still, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Maritza. This was very interesting to get to know you, and well, great places you've been and great passion. And yeah, we're looking forward to have you. And indeed, yeah, you mentioned the gender, balance, and we are trying hard in AOP to also redress some issues that we have. Historically, we are more of a male population in terms of researchers, but our PhD population is very diverse, so that's good. And you as a postdoc would be a great addition to AOP. So we are really looking forward to welcoming you.
Yeah, very nice to hear that. Thank you. I'm looking forward to go there too.
Okay. Well, bye-bye.
Bye.
See you. Take care.